right, so just put some of that documentation in there. We've had a number of people join, so I think everybody's gotten the message now. We are switched over from YouTube to Facebook. Thank you again for your patience. So I'm going to get into it. As you are aware from the agenda and from the posts that have been going on, I'm going to be discussing how to leverage entertainment at the live events that you're planning. So there's obviously, it's a very robust topic. You know, there's kind of events within events, as we've come to know as event planners, event coordinators, depending on if you're working for a company and you are the event manager or event coordinator for that company, or if you own your own business. So as we're talking through this, I'd love to know not only where you're from, but what type of industry you're in. If you work for yourself, if you work for another company, it'll help me kind of frame where to emphasize and where to keep the overall objective as we're talking about this awesome topic. So with that said, my name is Nathan Hyland. I am the International Business Development Manager here at the National Academy of Sports Medicine, NASM, and AFA, which is the Athletics Fitness Association of America, our sister company. So I've been with the company for actually 8 years, started off in sales, moved into live events where I really got my feet wet. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And now where I find myself is in international business development, where I'm taking all the things that I've learned, best practices from live events, and able to apply it so that we can grow to all those areas in the back there, 36 different countries that we're now in doing live events, which is really, really exciting. So the other thing I wanted to plug before we get too far down the rabbit hole, we have a special offer for all the listeners. This is really exciting. You can get started with lower deposit and lowered monthly payments. We will also enter you to the summer school sweepstakes to win free tuition here at QC Event School, which is awesome. That's right, free tuition. The offer does end Friday. You'll see some offers come through, so make sure you stay tuned on that. You certainly don't want to miss that. So my friend Katie, she will be plugging that and giving you all the proper information you need to be a part of that sweepstakes and to take advantage of that special promotion that we're doing. So getting back, just to give you a little bit more background on me, like I said, if you're just tuning in, some more people have popped on. I do international business development for the National Academy of Sports Medicine. Started off in sales, moved into live events, and now we are actually doing over 250 live events in 27 different countries, or 27 different states in the US, and then an additional 15 countries we will actually be in this year, with total account management of over 36 countries, which are behind me on that map there. So obviously we've taken the concepts of live events outside of just the US and have gone all over the world, which is really cool. So they brought me on to talk about entertainment. And we know as event planners, there's always the event within the event, right? And like I said earlier, depending on if you work for a company or if you work for yourself, it's critical to identify a few things. And we're going to go into three things that will help you identify the proper entertainment to do within the event. So to tell you a little bit about why I got into events, I want to go through it quickly because we have a lot to cover and we're already behind from the technical difficulties. I absolutely love events. I love the thrill of bringing people together. That's why I got into live event planning, to be able to see a friend from this part of life and a friend from this part of life be at a cocktail party at, within an event that I planned, have them hit it off, and now they're doing business together. Nothing warms my heart more than that. It's why I'm in business development. It's why I love to bring people together. So I'm sure very similar to what got me interested in events. I'd love to hear from you. Please share in the comments why you got into live events and specifically what you're looking to get out of this. What type of entertainment have you been using at your events? Questions that you have for me about specific entertainment that we leverage here at NASM and AFA, and other events that I've done in the past that we will also talk about. So, how I got to this point. How do we get to 250 events in 27 different states, 15 different countries this year. Well, it's certainly through scalability. We have a lot of resources here at my company. Actually, starting off in live events, it's where I got my feet wet here at NASM. And I didn't have a background. I didn't have a formal background in event planning. That's really where QC Event School helped me drastically. Everything I had was kind of learned through the school of hard knocks up until that point, kind of trial and error, see if it works, repeat the process, kind of that scientific method. It's a way to learn. If you could have somebody else that has more experience and can kind of create some shortcuts to circumvent those things, obviously that's what we want to do as planners. We have to embrace the risk. We have to embrace the what if. That's the exciting part of event planning. But certainly, if we can curtail some of that and mitigate that risk, we're going to be saving ourselves, a lot of gray hairs. So that's one thing I love about QC Event School, the practical nature of the education, how I was able to take the lessons, take the actual practical elements and apply it right away to my career. So if you're newly enrolled in QC Event School or you're thinking about doing it, I highly recommend just embracing it, embracing what your tutor gives you, embrace the education that's put forth. There's a lot of people with a ton of experience that have put together that curriculum to help you get to where you want to be. So those three things that I mentioned, the three things that are critical to helping you find the proper entertainment within the live event that you're doing. I know some of you might be doing traditional events, perhaps weddings, perhaps anniversaries, special events like that. Some of you might have a background like me that's very niche, in the fitness industry, conferences that we do, education. Obviously, I'm going to have a subset of things that maybe are different from what you're doing, but there's still those synergies. There's those three areas. So the three things that we're going to talk about, finding the right synergy for the event that you're doing to plan the proper entertainment within that event. So find the synergy. Number two, knowing your audience. Okay, that's a very important one. We're going to go into that. And then three, be purpose oriented. And I'll explain a little bit more what I mean by that in a couple minutes. So I probably have about 5 to 10 minutes to go through this. And then, like I said, I see some questions coming through. Do not be shy. Ask me any questions. No questions are dumb. We want to cultivate a good atmosphere where you can get exactly what you came here for. So throw those my way. If it makes sense, I'll work it into what I'm talking about. Otherwise, we'll save it towards the end. So finding the synergies. One of the examples that immediately comes to mind is last year at our annual conference. It's pretty big conference, about 750 people. We keep it intimate. We try to keep it below 1,000 people. These are fitness enthusiasts from all over the country, all over the world. They come to our annual event. We throw a themed party every year, right? So in finding those synergies, we came up with an 80s theme, okay? We also did a superhero theme. As you can imagine, fitness people love to show off their muscles and all the hard work they put in the gym. So there's some really cool superhero costumes. But it's important to find the things that match what the event is all about. So we had some lookalikes that we hired specifically for the 80s party. We had a Richard Simmons lookalike, obviously fitness oriented from the 80s. We had an Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme, fun stuff like that once again fits the overall theme of what we're looking for. We had a video DJ. Of course, things like this come with a budget. We want to be mindful of the budget. There's obviously a lot of ways that we can spend our money as event planners, but if we can prioritize finding things that make sense, if we deviate too much on that tangent, it's going to be a difficult cost to not only recoup, but also it might get lost on the audience. So that brings me to point two, knowing that audience, who is attending. If you aren't already setting up personas of the 3 to 5 types of people that are going to be attending your event, I strongly recommend you find some good YouTube videos, you find some articles, some resources maybe within your company that allows you to build a persona, knowing the demographic the interest, all the little intricacies of those people that are attending your event is critical. So please do that for the sake of not only number one, but also for number two, knowing your audience. So finding synergies, knowing your audience. I'll give you a quick example on knowing your audience. And this is a way to boost registrations or ticket sales, depending on what live event component you're looking at. When I ran mixed martial arts events a handful of years back for a company called Rage in the Cage, it's the second longest running MMA organization in the world. We went to Yuma. It was Yuma, Arizona, brand new territory for us. We'd never been there. Ticket sales were hurting a little bit in the beginning. So what we did, we found out, we knew the persona of the people coming to our events. They loved local high school wrestling. So what did we do? We contacted the two rival high school wrestling clubs in town, and we set them up as the halftime show so that they would compete against each other during halftime. What did it do? It boosted ticket sales by about 150 tickets, which not only got us back to break even, but actually helped us make more money in the show than we expected. So always be creative. Like I said, tap into the personas, know your audience. If you're not already doing that, I strongly, strongly recommend it. Number three, so we had one, find synergies. Two, know the audience. Number three, be purpose-oriented. What are you looking to achieve from the entertainment? Once again, we have the big event. We have those little events within the event. Like Inception, dreams within dreams, right? So in tying it all together, what are we doing? If this is a team building exercise, like I do a lot for my company, who are the audience? These are our internal people. We can loosen the tie a little bit. We can do things a little bit different than we normally do because we know the audience. We know there's not going to be maybe outside considerations that we normally have to worry about. Is it revenue generating? Is it supposed to break even? Is it a loss leader? I know I go back to that budget a lot, but understanding your budget and putting it towards things that are critical to making the event work and draw registration is key. So be purposeful. What is the purpose of that entertainment? Also, publicity stunts is one that I have. And I use that term publicity stunt kind of liberally. It could be a celebrity that you bring in. It could be some type of hype that you create within the media. Be a shameless promoter of the entertainment that you are bringing. Find those outlets. Local news is always looking for something different. Be creative. Once again, go back to those creative wheels, get them spinning, and make something happen in terms of publicity to draw attention to your event. And you know what? Sometimes you think a celebrity is so far out of reach, man, their booking fee must be astronomical. There's no way they would ever come to my little conference. Phooey. That's ridiculous. Most people don't reach out to those people because they think they're so high level. You can reach out. You can create excellent value for value propositions. If you have an expo hall and they just launched a book, put an expo hall, in place of maybe bringing their fee down a little bit. If they have an apparel line, whatever it is, once again, get creative. Try to have that celebrity present in the expo hall as a special speaker, that MC that is going to help post on their social media to get more people there. Be mindful of that. Once again, going back to the purpose. So I've been talking quite a bit. We talked about my background. We talked about the benefits of the QC education. We went through the three elements of finding critical entertainment within the event that you're doing, which once again is to find synergies, know your audience, and be purpose-oriented. So I want to open it up to questions now. I see these flying through, and I want to make sure we're leaving proper time. All right. Hello, Felicia. Hello, Lisa. We got Christina on. We got Michigan in the house. We got Teresa Betts. Hello. All right. I don't see any questions, just kind of more comments. So throw those through. I see somebody put a survey up here. Have you worked with live events? So this is great. 33% have. 67% of you have not yet. So for those of you that haven't, if you didn't hear me say in the beginning, we had a wide array of technical difficulties leading up to this. Cool as a cucumber, especially in event planning, you have to expect that things are going to go wrong. Not a fatalistic way, not a pessimistic way, But if there's one thing that I impart to new event planners, embrace that something is going to go wrong. But be hopeful. Obviously we can have optimism and realism. They can live together. Okay. So thank you guys for joining who are new to live event planning. For those of you that have been doing live event planning, hopefully some of these specific examples that I gave around certain events, themed parties, bringing in celebrities, setting up certain entertainment that might even have like an athletic variety to it. To go back to that example that I had mentioned about the Yuma wrestlers, we also did that with a CrossFit competition. So CrossFit's obviously huge out here in Phoenix, Arizona. We were doing an event at Gila River actually. And once again, ticket sales we were a little stressed because they were low. We brought in a CrossFit gym to do their competition as a halftime show. Not only did people love it, but once again, it added an extra 100, 150 ticket sales from friends and CrossFit enthusiasts that wanted to come watch that. So find those synergies. What is that group? What is that person? What is that entity that I could bring in that has a synergy with my event to make it that much more entertaining, rewarding for the attendee, and also, hey, we got to make money, right? Boosting ticket sales, boosting registrations. So if your minds can start to think that way, I felt like that was the turning point. It was right around when I was going through the QC event school education. That's that turning point that kind of happens where now you start to get it. You start to find the creative juices. You get comfortable with maybe registrations being lower than where you expected, 3 months out. It's definitely an art just as much as it's a science. So I commend you guys that are getting into live events. You'll definitely get some more gray hairs, like I said, but I wouldn't change anything about it. It's a great, great lifestyle, and you're set up with some great people in the QC event school arena. So let's see if we got any more questions here. Got some more people jumping on. All right, here's a good question. What are the best marketing techniques before and during the events? So marketing, once again, very much an art and a science. One thing that I've done more than any money that I've spent on directly with Facebook, directly with print, directly with any other type of advertising direct spend is the influencer model. If you guys aren't using the influencer model, if you're like, let's say you're in the makeup industry. I don't know anything about the makeup industry, but if somebody hired me to do it, I would find out all the 20 to 30 something year olds that have 100,000 plus followers on Instagram, Facebook, and I'd be messaging them and getting them to help promote that event that I'm doing. Equally in the fitness industry, we've surrounded ourselves with influencers that can take our assets. We give them the whole package. So here's an email, Dropbox link with what you post on Instagram, what time and what day you do it, what you post on Facebook, Twitter, depending on what platforms that they use. We create the schedule. We come up with the compensation, either a flat fee, maybe some type of trade. Like we have education that will help trade out. Remember, we can get creative. It doesn't have to be money for service. It can be value for service. So be thinking what else you can offer to help save that budget. So influencer model, above all else, the things that work, both technique-wise for before and during the events, nothing better. Same thing, when they're actually at the event, they go Facebook Live. We got the step and repeat banner set up. They can get pictures with other people, either in the expo hall or at the networking events. Leveraging those influencers prior to the event and then during the event, can't stress it enough. It's really, really helpful. So I know we're getting closer to the kind of end of the time here, and I certainly want to make time for more questions. I see Christina from Ithaca, New York's on. Once again, we got Michigan in the house. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you coming on board, and it was an honor to host for QC Event School. I certainly would love to do it again, and shoot us some topics. If there's pathways I started to go down that I didn't quite elaborate enough on what you were looking for, or if there's something different, maybe it's an adjacent industry or something specifically you'd like to know more about, get with me, offline. I'll provide my contact information, send me emails. If there's enough of demand for that topic, we can even look at creating another webinar for it. So let me just check one more time for questions. Yep, and the votes are still coming in. So yeah, only about a third of you guys have worked in event planning. So this is really interesting. About 2/3 of you are going to be doing it presumably pretty soon. So once again, I wish you guys the best of luck. If you're already enrolled at QC Event School, it truly is the best practical education you can get. Looks great on a resume. I asked around a bunch of places. I went online and did all my homework. I kept going back to QC Event School because of all the information that I was getting. If you haven't enrolled yet, to let you know about that special offer once and again, it is actually a special offer for all the listeners here, and there will be more that Katie will share on the link. You can get started with a lower deposit, lower monthly payments, and you also get entered into the summer school sweepstakes to win free tuition. That's awesome, guys. So that will end Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, once again, if you have any questions, send us a Facebook message and we will be happy to oblige. Once again, my name is Nathan Hyland. My contact information will be provided. It was an honor to share some of the secret sauce with you guys as it relates to entertainment within live events. We'd love any feedback that you have, and we'll look to do another webinar here soon. Thank you again. Have a great day.